behalf of ABP Desam, it is my honor and privilege to welcome you all to this extraordinary gathering. With this, let's move to our next session. To each there comes in their lifetime a special moment, as Winston Churchill says. Our next guest has answered that call through public service and youth empowerment. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and join me in welcoming Shri Dasoju Sravan Kumar, Honorable MLC Telangana. And may I also invite on stage Diksha to moderate this session.
Well, good afternoon and a very warm welcome, Mr. Sravan Kumar, a member of Legislative Council. He has a master's in linguistic and management, PhD in HR. He's been a teacher, a corporate HR trainer, and now a politician. Can we all put our hands together for Sir? So we are going to discuss, our topic for this session is policy with purpose, empowering youth with the 21st century skills. Now, before I start this session, I'd like to ask all the students present here, how many of you think you have all the skills you require to be industry ready? You have all the skills? Yes? Come on, be confident. Yes? Can you quickly name a few micro skills that you have? Can we pass the mic here? Come on. Or maybe you can name a few skills that are needed to be industry ready, to be ready to go out there in the market. Quickly stand up, introduce yourself. Can we switch on this mic, please?
Okay, hello, I'm Bhuvnesh. Again, I'm from KL University. The skills, I believe the first one is the communication skills, how you actually, empower yourself when you talk to others.
Right.
And then the domain-related skills, the coding and all the workload management, the critical thinking, when it comes to aptitude, the way you think, the way you actually react when you're given a problem. So I think on a basic level, all of these problems are enough for the minimum industry when you actually want to go to an industry.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. A round of applause for him, everybody. Anybody else? All right, now Mr. Kumar, coming to you. So what do you think are the skills that, in this 21st century, students need to be industry ready as we start this topic?
Diksha, first of all, good afternoon to everybody, the teachers, faculty, and the students and ABP Desam to have invited me. I don't know if I'm the right person here to come and then talk because politics make a man rotten. I was a teacher. I was a corporate trainer. I was heading HR. But that was about 18, 17 years back. And then spent about 17 years consistently in politics. So you know what could happen to a politician. So the same thing has happened to me too. But then they insisted that it is the politicians who make the policy, so therefore you have to come, so therefore I am before you. Before I answer your question,
yes.
Way back 1993, that's when I just completed my tenure from Administrative Staff College of India, and then I joined Institute of Public Enterprise. That's where management is being taught, I'm sure you're aware. And at that time, MBA evening used to be there. It's called MBA Public Enterprise. The participants in the program are all corporate executives, that too from public sector companies, armed forces, and all that. So my teacher, to whom I'm always indebted, Professor E.G. Parameswaran, who's no more, the renowned psychologist those days, who guided me for my PhD. So just about to enter the classroom to teach, he told me one thing. There are different types of teachers. One is who don't teach. They have priorities, other priorities.
Right.
Two is some teachers can't teach. And the third is some teachers should not teach. Now you have to decide whether you want to fall into any of these categories or you want to create a mark of your own selves. And I said, sir, I'm your student, so I'll certainly make a mark for myself. And I did my best to be a good teacher and subsequently to be a good trainer. Why I raise this point is, you asked about, if there is a skill gap,
Right.
or what kind of skills that are required
Yes.
for the students.
Correct.
But I think, having spent time in the academics and as well as in the corporate sector, having closely seen the society, it is not just the students who lack the skills. Even the teachers don't have the skills. There's a big gap. There's a big gap of the skills even among the teachers. I know maybe teachers coming from KL University or ICFI or any of these elite and affluent institutions and universities, teachers may not have that problem, but then most of the institutions today suffer. I'm not just talking about management colleges or engineering colleges, but entire educational system. There is a problem even among the teachers in terms of the skill back, just as the students has. Now, World Economic Forum or CI or FICCI, HISIA, NASSCOM, several organizations have done the studies and they've come up with the problem-solving skill is a very major problem. Critical thinking is a major problem. But as a corporate, HR trainer and a recruiter, when I used to go to campuses for hiring, they're so good in technology. I'm sure the same situation even today. When Bhuvanesh was talking today, things have not changed. 20 years back when I used to go to the BITS Pilani or any of these IITs or many engineering colleges to go and then do the campus hiring, whatever the problem that I heard then, after 20 years again, Bhuvanesh is saying the same. That means things have not really changed. When they used to code, I used to really feel magic about it. The keyboard used to sync. But then when it comes to the question of communication, people used to get flat.
True.
They were not able to communicate well. They were not able to connect with the person who sits next. They would prefer to send a mail rather than just opening a chat with the person who sits.
Right.
So interpersonal skills, communication, teamwork, collaboration. Smallest problem, they get crumbled and then in stress, unable to take the decision. So these kind of problems existed then. And even after 20 years when Bhuvanesh said, I think things have not changed. And this is not only applicable for the students, but also teachers. Teachers, one of the studies says that almost 50% of the teachers, or even more than 50% of the teachers in the country, do not have digital literacy or do not have the ability to integrate the technology with their teaching. Then that means both are sailing in the same boat.
Absolutely.
Now, if a teacher is having a problem in terms of the skills, how can he impart better skills to the students? So therefore, if at all there is any policy that one would want to conceive in this country, it should not only address the students, but also should address the teachers, is what essentially I feel. Simple email. Forget about communication. People don't know how to write simple emails. Corporate companies spend so much of time on training people on email, training people on how do you dine, how do you connect with the customer, how do you pick up a telephone call and then talk to your customer. Some of these skills really lack. So what I'm trying to say is that they're very good in terms of understanding the technology, but probably they need a little more orientation, a policy that will enable them to learn the soft skills, life skills, leadership skills. Some of these skills certainly, I think, have to be, learned.
Right. Round of applause for sir. Very brilliant point that you've highlighted, that not just students, but even teachers have to develop such skills. Can you actually, tell us how to bridge this gap when we talk about these 21st century industry-ready skills? How do we start from basics, say, for students or for teachers as well?
No, I think with regard to teachers, I think we are really casual about the way we recruit teachers. We just completed one war with Pakistan. If you look at soldiers, once in their lifetime, they get an opportunity to do the war. But they're ready. They're made to be prepared, or they're prepared every day to be ready for a war. As if, they're going to pick up the gun and then fire at the enemy very next moment. That means on a day-to-day basis, a constant learning, constant skilling happens to a soldier who would never even know in his lifetime whether he will pick up a gun and then fight with the enemy. But why not the same situation is extended to a teacher? Why not? I'm sure you would empathize with me, some of the teachers and some of the leaders of the academia who run the institutions. Teacher training is, unfortunately, not a serious business in this country. Neither teachers take it serious, nor the policymakers take it serious. I don't want to blame the students, blame the policymakers and blame the heads of the academic institutions. So thereby, I think we really suffer. One. Two is, as a teacher, I used to teach management. I'm talking about 30 years back, I started teaching. First time when we started talking about case study-based learning, it was something new for us, We went to IIM Ahmedabad, got trained there, and then came back and then started using case studies and simulations, role plays in management education to teach the HR and OB. We used to use all these things. Why not? Why only that privilege to the management students? Why not such kind of an education happens to the school level students or 10th or 10 plus 2 students? So the orientation, somebody was asking about entrepreneurship. I think Sudhakarji was mentioning about entrepreneurship. You train students for certificates, but you want them to become entrepreneurs. You train the students, you test the students on their memory, but you want them to have meaning out of the knowledge that they gain. So therefore, I think there's a lot of gap in terms of the pedagogy, the method in which we teach, the method we adopted to assess the students' potential. So I think more than for the certificates, I think we should focus on training students on skill building, not for certificates, but for the competencies.
Right. With this conversation, we've actually also understood that the skill gap is not just 21st century, but like you said, it's been existing over the years. Like you said, last 20 years also, we had the same lack of skills, micro skills, and it is the same today. So, sir, Telangana government has recently set up this initiative called YISU, right? How do you think that is benefiting the youth?
I'm a politician, and please don't find fault with me if I make some, remarks about it. It is not to criticize, but I have my own apprehensions. Being in HR, as a practitioner of HR, I used to tell my colleagues in the company where I worked in Sierra and Satyam, whenever someone comes to you as an employee, if they make a complaint, treat it as a constructive suggestion. If they criticize, treat it as a constructive suggestion, but not a complaint. So my appeal is somebody in the government, if they are here or if they are going to listen to me eventually, I'm not going to make any complaint or criticize them, but I'm going to suggest. In 2018, I was in the Congress party at that point of time. I was the national spokesperson, and then I was made responsible to draft the manifesto. It's me, along with, I can't take the names of those people, some of the professors from IIT here and IIMs, a few other IIMs and all that, we put together have formulated that manifesto in which we mentioned that Telangana needs to have a skill university. So that's when the skill university has emanated in the Congress party in 2018, and I'm the one who wrote about it. When we have, how we concede, I'll tell you. But today, if I look at it, I'm a little worried whether they really want to look at that as a skill university or a finishing school, because I'm sure some of you are aware, we used to have JKCs, right? When Rajshekar Reddy was there, Jawahar Knowledge Centers. Subsequently, when Mr. KTR took over, it transformed into TASK, right? And now these guys have started the Skill University. I'm wondering, if you look at, I have gone to the vision. In fact, some of you have the mobiles. You can please open yyisu.com, and then if you read the vision statement, I'm really surprised. I'm actually really surprised. All of them, if I'm allowed to read it for you, if I'm allowed to read it, to be a world-class institution that transforms the future of education and workforce development by empowering students from diverse backgrounds with the skills needed to meet the evolving demands of global industries. YISU envisions enhancing workforce capabilities, generating employment for youth, and supporting economic growth. We aim to position Telangana as a leader in skilling and employment landscapes on local, national, and international levels. You may ask me, what is the problem? World over, people are not talking about skilling for employment. World over, people are talking about skilling for entrepreneurship. That's what Mr. Sudhakar has talked about it. Right. If it is for employment, KL University is there, ICFA is there, Usman University is there, and several universities are there. Why do you need a skill university with 200 acres of land, and then I read the names of the people there, Anand Mahindra, Srini Raju, Satish Reddy, Suchitra Ella. All of these are affluent, elite entrepreneurs wanting Telangana youth to become employees, but not the entrepreneurship. That's where I think it's seriously missing. Then I further, got little deep into it. Then I looked at the courses they are offering. All the courses are mundane. That means right now, at least, I'm not pessimistic. I'm optimistic that all of them are very competent, trained. I'm sure they would also listen to my comments. They would do a deep research and then conceive the program much more effectively so that we transform every Telangana youth not into an employee but into an entrepreneur. And the programs that they have conceived should not be an extension to a college like a finishing school, but should be like, empowering them to become the entrepreneurs. I think that's what's missing. When we conceived the Skill University idea in 2018, let me tell you, we thought that it is not like ISB. I heard the Chief Minister saying that Chandrababu Naidu is for ISB and I am for YYSU is what the statement he made. It sounded very good, light branding. The branding guys are here, so they would understand what it means. But it is beyond branding. It's beyond branding. It's not a finishing school. It's going to change the destiny and the fate of the Telangana youth and the Telangana population and Telangana economy. I think that aspect of it, I think, is missing, is what I feel. And another very important thing. There is a website and so much of fanfare. What is the skill gap that we have in Telangana today? What is the skill gap that we have in Telangana today? No data available. So my appeal to them is, first of all, do a survey, understand what is the kind of a skill gap that exists in Telangana. And another thing is, when we conceive this program, you don't need to be like another ISB, but then you create a hub and spoke kind of a model. You have so many engineering colleges, so many polytechnics. There are ITIs in the state of Telangana. Network with them, create the content in such a way, impart the train-up kind of programs, and with these engineering colleges that exist in Adilabad, that exists in Nizamabad, that exists in different parts of the state of Telangana, they become partners in imparting this skill, facilitating them to learn and facilitating them to become the entrepreneurs. So what is happening? The entire ecosystem of the academia is integrated into this entire process rather than, like ISB, create an institution where people from Adilabad need not come here. Why not in Adilabad, an engineering college or an ITI or a polytechnic become an extension of the skill university and then impart such skill? That's much more easy. So I think a lot more deeper thinking is needed rather than mere branding for political gains is what I feel. And they're capable. A lot of them are very talented people, experienced professionals. I'm sure they would do it what I feel.
You've definitely raised some truly thought-provoking points here, sir, especially about the mindset that you said, that it is not about employment, making everybody employment-ready, but entrepreneurship-ready. That is really appreciable. Now, sir, you yourself come from an IT industry, right? Do you think our current education system meets the demands that is required in the IT industry?
I think, yes, and also no. The reason is, it is not about what they learn, but then whether what they learn is going to fulfill the demands of the industry is the question. Most often, as I told you, that in terms of the technological competency, I don't think, anybody, I travel all over the country. I went to Orissa, I went to Bengal, I went to Delhi, different parts of the country when I used to go for hiring, and same is the situation as Bonesh has rightly expressed. Coding, no problem. Technology, no problem. But then when it comes to the life skills, leadership skills, soft skills, communication, I think there is a C gap that has to be filled in, number one. Number two is, most of the institutions, maybe unlike Roots or KL or ICFI, most of the universities or institutions, they take to change the curriculum 5 to 6 years or 3 to 5 years. Whereas an industry demands are within 6 months there is a change in technology.
True.
What you learn today is redundant within 3 months of time. So to cope up with that kind of a change in the technological demands, institutions are not able to cope up. So I think the industry and academic interaction, flexibility to the government institutions, particularly like JNTU or Usman University, they need to be consciously on toes to see that whatever the changes that are taking place in the industry are immediately imbibed. Right now, I think there exists a gap that certainly needs to be filled in. Otherwise, we will fall behind is what I feel.
Right. So, sir, like you've rightly agreed that, micro skills should be pushed more aggressively. I'd like to ask you, in this era, do you think that the traditional degrees are losing their relevance?
I don't know. I mean, some of the seniors are here. Way back when dot-com boom cropped up, there were not many engineering colleges. And not many polytechnic graduates have really got the computer training. A BA graduate, let me tell you, a BA graduate from any rural area or from Hyderabad would have gone to Amirpet. BA or a BCom graduate would have gone to Amirpet, learned C, C++ or Java or PLSQL and then got a job. And they made tons of money in America, become an extraordinary software professionals. So it's not about the degree. It's about the kind of competencies that you learn is the question. Second is, as you rightly said, I think the BAs and BComs or BScs, all these traditional degrees certainly have lost the relevance or will lose the relevance in case they are not equipped with technology. For example, I'll say BCom. When you simply learn theory of commerce and then you don't know tally, can you become an accountant?
No.
I studied law. Long back I studied law. And today's, when I studied law, there is no technology learning in it. But today, if you want to be a successful lawyer, law is a traditional degree, but then you need to know how to use ChatGPT.
True.
You need to know how to use AI so that you are quickly able to draft your writ petitions or pills or any other petitions. So that integration with the technology, if in case it does not happen with these traditional degrees, they're certainly going to be redundant. So I think the policymakers should keep that in mind when they conceive the curriculum or when they deliver. I think they have to keep in mind technology and the traditional degree can be sold. Traditional degree minus technology, they're not going to get the jobs.
Right. So, sir, moving forward, talking about, getting industry ready, I'd like to ask you, how do you imagine classrooms or how do you imagine the education system in 2030 or in 2035? AI-driven or, the startup founders mentoring students?
There are two things that are going to change is what I feel. One, I think we may see a scenario where a teacher would probably become a mere facilitator or a mentor or a verifier, but then you're going to have robots to come and teach you. Already, if you key in something, any subject in ChatGPT and then you type there, it will give you a whole lot of lessons. You don't need to have any teacher to come and then teach you. What you need is, let's say 10 of you are given one topic and 10 of you key in ChatGPT the way you like, and then you got your own knowledge, and all of you sit together in the class, and then probably the classroom will become a forum for group discussion, or need not even go physically to the classroom, but online through Zoom or something that you can. So I think the traditional classroom and traditional teacher is going to fade away, and then innovative methods of using AI, integrating with technology will come up. I think that's something that we are going to see is what I feel.
Right. Okay. Sir, do you think in this AI-generated era, in this digital classroom era, do you think the rural students are left behind?
They are. They are left behind. And then if you want to really bridge that gap, I think, the national average of internet access is for every 100 students, for 100 people, is about 66 or 70. Whereas in Telangana, luckily, I think around 89 to 90 people have access for every 100. That means we are far good compared to many other states. I think better than us is the Kerala. But still, all of us have, I'm talking, a lot of us, I'm sure the people who watch this program also, we all have internet on our mobiles, but we spend most of the time on Facebook, Instagram, or maybe some of us on Twitter or Snapchat, whatever it is. But then we don't really spend time on TED. We don't really spend time on learning certain important subject-related modules through YouTube that is available. So I think that orientation to the rural students is necessary. Second is, I think every panchayat, gram panchayat, should become a technological hub where the rural youth can go and then access the technology, access the internet, access the e-learning. That's what something Telangana has done. TSAT is a program I think the previous government has implemented, and then a lot of e-learning modules were made accessible to the rural students. But still a long way to go. I think there must be a conscious effort. If we really want to make India to grow in a rapid manner, majority of the youth lives in
Right, rural areas,
So unless
right.
you bridge that gap, you really will not be able to progress the way you want.
Right. So do you think the current system is actually bridging the gap, and are they ensuring that even the rural students catch up with this digital era and race?
I mean, I come from rural area, so maybe I'm a little biased. Rural students, if you give them access to technology, they can surpass some of the urban boys also. It's actually a fact. Maybe because of the passion, maybe because of the urge, maybe
Right.
because for the first time they got an opportunity.
True.
But
Absolutely.
then unfortunately, rural students don't have that access. And the policymakers should ensure a KL kind of a university or a Roots kind of an institute or an ICFI kind of an institute should go to a rural Telangana so that the rural students also have that access. The governments, fiber grid is one of that system that the previous government under the leadership of Mr. KTR, he made an effort to lay the fiber grid so that every village is connected on internet. I think still progressing. Second is I think the previous government also has made an effort to have IT towers in most of the tier 2, tier 3 kind of cities so that rural youth really get employment, get enthused, motivated to become technology driven and all that. But I think we still have a long way to go.
So you're saying slowly but steadily we are moving towards that.
Yes.
All right, amazing. Okay, so talking about my next question, there are a lot of students here who actually fear losing jobs, losing employment because of AI. So in fact, when I was actually having a conversation with my previous speaker, somebody had asked that, teachers are been substituted by AI-driven classrooms and all these digital boards and everything. So the teachers might also lose employment. So in this scenario, what is your message to the students so that we can keep their confidence high?
I mean, one thing, way back when Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, the former Prime Minister, introduced computerization in the public sector companies in this country, lots of public PSUs, trade union leaders came onto the roads. They said that we are going to lose just as the youth today are
Correct.
scared of
Losing jobs.
Due to AI. Those days when Rajiv Gandhi wanted to introduce computers, trade unions came onto the roads. But slowly their children started telling them that, man, you have to learn computers. So slowly, having seen their children, they also have fallen in line and then learned computers and then became partners in the computerization of this country. So in future also, today I think AI might unsettle, but certainly it will pave path for new jobs. Only thing is, are you adaptable? Are you trainable? Do you have learnability? Do you have trainability? Do you have adaptability? So long as you have this, no AI can take away your jobs. All that you need is constantly on toes like a war soldier. Every day he skills himself. You have to skill yourselves. Constantly your tentacles have to be up to understand the technological changes and learn on your own. Don't expect your college to teach you. Because today you have those resources. When I was doing my PhD,
Right.
I'll tell you, Ma. When I was doing my PhD, I'm sure Padala, Sudhakar may relate with what I'm talking. When I was doing my PhD, in the thesis, you are supposed to have a chapter called Review of Literature. A review of literature means it's a hell lot of a task. I took almost about 1.5 years of loss of pay leave only to do review of literature, to travel Ahmedabad, to travel IIM Bangalore, to travel various institutes, to study the monographs and research reports and ascertain what they have done, the research, and then, formulated my research problem, review of literature. Today, open your chat GPT or Grok, sit here and do what I have done for 1.5 or 2 years can be done in hardly about 20 days or 15 days. All you need to have is simulation ability, learning ability. So therefore, I think the AI will unsettle you, but it will also stabilize you, lead you to a new path, a new horizon of growth, only when we have adaptability, trainability, and learnability. I think that's something very important.
That is absolutely true. Round of applause here. Come on, boys and girls. So next up, sir, if you had to design one policy to future-proof India's youth, what would it be?
I don't know. When future-proof, I don't know. Waterproof means this is a Apple Watch.
Apple
If I
band.
put it in water, it should not get spoiled.
Spoiled.
Waterproof. Because of the water, it should not. So you're saying that if these young generation
Future-proof.
future-proof,
Yes.
that means when they enter into future, they should not get affected.
Get affected, right. And that is what most of them actually fear.
See, no single here, I don't know, there's no one single answer for the complex and comprehensive problem that what we are discussing today. It is not just one. We talked about skill gap among the students. We talked about skill gap among the teachers. We talked about the resource budgetary constraints. You know, China spends around 4% of their budget. India still, after so many years, we talk NEP, we talk this, that, all kinds of things. I think we are still stuck at 2.9. And I wanted to tell you another thing. I wanted you guys to also listen to this. On YouTube, you type, China professor, India versus, will democracy stifle growth is a topic on which he spoke 13 years back or 14 years back. I listened to it. Very interesting, but he was boasting more about China. One of the things that which stuck to me, he says that India can never be a competition to China. And he talked about many reasons. And one reason that he talked, which stuck to me as a teacher at that point of time, was that he says that China, if you want to consider someone as a literate, they have to learn Mandarin. Mandarin is the national language. So they have to learn Mandarin. And they have to write a sentence or about 150 words they have to write. Only then that person is considered as literate. Whereas in India, if you want to consider someone as a literate, you simply write your name. You simply write your name in the language that you only know. Whereas in China, they say that in the Mandarin language, you have to write not one word, but the entire sentence with many words. Then I'm considering it as literate. With that kind of a complex computation, China's literacy rate is what? 100% or 98% or so. India, with so much of technology, science, growth, investments that we made, we are still, I think, stuck around 75, 77%. So the question that you asked, that one policy, no single policy is an answer to have a transformative education scenario in this country. Right from the way you look at the literacy rate to the way you create pedagogy to the way you deliver the teaching in the classrooms to how you empower and retrain your teachers to how much of budget that you allocate to. By the end of the day, I think, I would certainly look for a policy where my student and my rural boy or urban boy stands up with confidence on their feet. They have equal opportunity of learning, of equal quality. The biggest problem today in India. Affluent and elite still have better access to the quality of education. Majority of this country, majority of the state of Telangana still have access to the quality education, maybe in urban or rural. Maybe urban or rural. Most of the private schools in the urban areas, slums, I met some of the school teachers recently in a slum, in a marriage, all of them ganged up and then they were talking. Most teachers are not paid well in the private schools that exist in the slums. And a teacher who's underpaid, how will he deliver? So it's a very, very vicious circle that we are talking about. There is no one single policy. There is no single answer. But I think a comprehensive approach is needed to transform the Indian education so that we are preparing for the future.
Right. So, sir, you just mentioned there is no one single policy as of now. But do you think 10 years down the lane, there can be a set of policies for which these students who've heard you today will thank you 10 years down the lane?
That's what I tell. No, if I could make a policy where there is an equal opportunity of equal quality of education to every student, and if I could create a policy where they are not employers, but they are they are not employees, but employers. They are not seekers, but givers. They are wealth creators. They contribute to the nation building. If I could create such kind of a youth, then I'll be happy. I'm sure India is going to really progress. Telangana is really going to progress. All that what we need is the right political will. Some of you, I really urge all of you also to consider to build a career in politics too. Because unfortunately, people like you have forgotten to be in politics. So therefore, real estate contractors and all kinds of people have entered into politics, and public policy has gone for a toss. So you guys who are now in this campus, think of becoming politicians to make a policy not for yourselves but future of this country. Thank you.
True. One final question before we wrap up this conversation. Can Telangana expect a skill-based entrepreneurship mission for Tier 2 and 3 towns soon?
I think it has already begun by our leader, Mr. KTR, as an IT minister, as an industry minister in the last 10 years. I'm not trying to boast my party, but it's a fact. Some of you guys looking at each other, so therefore I'm trying to tell you. TSI Pass, promoted entrepreneurship. T-Hub, promoted entrepreneurship. T-Works, promoted entrepreneurship. She-Hub, promoted for women entrepreneurship. Lot of effort has been done, but I think that has to be carried forward without any kind of political differences is what I feel. And then we have now IT towers, for example, in various parts of the Tier 2, Tier 3 cities. They need to be strengthened, and they need to be created as a models of inspiration for the youth there, so that they learn technology and they become technocrats and entrepreneurs on their own. Finally, I appeal to this government through you is that YYSU is not yet another ISB, because in this country, elite and affluent institutions are not an answer to the problems of this country or problems of this India. Telangana. My appeal to them is think local, act global. We have lots of problems in Telangana. Adilabad has a different problem. Nizamabad has a different problem. Nalgonda has a different problem. Karimnagar has a different problem. Understand what are the skill gaps in each of these districts. Partner with the local institutions and let YYSU become a hub of promoting the entrepreneurship. You said Tier 2, Tier 3 and rural cities. Answer is YYSU, provided they shift their mindset from creating employees to entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. A big hand for sir. Thank you so much. It's been a truly honor to have you here with us at the ABP Desam Smart Education Conclave. Do we have any questions before we wrap up? Yes. Can we quickly pass on a mic here?
Good afternoon, Dr. Sravan. It's a great conversation as usual. The last statement made by you actually struck me. Just step back a little bit from the color of your party and from the burden of responding it from a political party point of view. But in your assessment, do you think the various political leaders that are right now on the canvas for the youth to look at, are they demonstrating or are they inspiring us to actually get into the well of politics? If I have to make politics as my career, do we have enough role models? For example, in various situations, they give away their real colors. There is a war. Somebody shoots off their mouth in a wrong way. We have seen that. Most sensitive statements which are not supposed to be made are made. They're all politicians. They're all senior politicians. They're also serving in the government. Some of them are ministers. Not just one party. In different situations, we see these people actually shooting their mouth. They are setting wrong examples. Do you think the stage is right now inspirational enough for we youth to get into your politics? That's the question, Anna.
You ask me, not really. If you ask me, not really. Despite having a towering leader like KTR, a towering leader like KCR, even among the ruling party, you have people who have studied in HCU like Sridhar Babu, or a fighter pilot turned into a politician like Uttam Kumar Reddy and all that. There are few people like that. But still, Indian polity is filled not really with statesmen. That's the biggest bankruptcy today. That is the reason I said, okay, assuming that it is not a field of attraction to you, do you want to give up? You know, when I wanted to get out of my Satyam computers, I was the general manager HR, heading the largest business unit, Oracle business unit, enterprise resource planning business unit. Dream come true for me, having come from Nalgonda. Fat salary, lakhs of rupees of salary, global career, global travel, everything was very good. But then, somewhere along, there was one itch for me, that if I continued to be a general manager, I would have become vice president, I would have become some director, some managing director of some company, made much more bigger money. But then I would have died with a regret, with a guilt that I have not contributed something to the society. So I think somewhere that selflessness has to be sown into our thought process. It is bad. You want to clean the mud. You want to clean the mud. You want to clean a nala. How can you do that without entering into it?
You have to.
There's no, you can't do it. You want to clean the mud, you have to fold your sleeves, grease your hands, step into the mud, and only then you can clean it. There is no, the right dream environment. You want to make a dream environment, you part of that and then change it. Today, unfortunately, politics has become politics have become a business enterprise. Business enterprise. So how will you change? You change, people like you have to come into politics. It is tough. You feel humiliation. You feel rejection. You feel totally regretted. You'll cry. But yet, my country, my society, and I have a dharma to contribute to my nation. Come in.
We keep hearing these quotes, from ages that if you want to change the system, be the part of the system. Absolutely right. Well said. Yes, any other questions? Can we pass the mic there at the back? That side there.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. My name is Satya. Though I want to keep this apolitical because you are from a political background, so I need to ask this question. Nothing to do with your BRS or Congress or anything. Because you talked about all the speakers we need to provide Ramaraja kind of things, like very ideal kind of situations. But I can take the name of the party from Congress to BJP to TRS or TDP. Instead of empowering people, you keep on giving freebies, you keep on giving reservations, then on coming onto the stage, then you talk about we need entrepreneurs. So how are you going to achieve this? Because day in, day out, we only talk about the freebies and the reservations are going up. Then on the other stages, then we are talking about likes of ISB and IBS should go to rural areas. When I did my management, the annual fee was only 35 rupees. Okay, and my father's salary was 300 rupees. Now no one can offer this education also, any of these B schools. Sorry for that, but I have a lot of my friends who are representing the business schools out here, but that is a sad reality. Thank you.
I think you have asked a very important question.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know what is your age, but then when I studied my MBA, I paid 300 rupees of fees, and then I completed. And then for completing my PhD, apart from my thesis, drafting expenses, traveling, and all that put together, the fee I paid was around 2,000 rupees for my PhD. 300 MBA, 2,000 for my PhD. Now you can't even imagine today, even in these government universities, it has increased, and private universities has gone up. This is one of the serious pitfalls of our system. That is the reason I said, what is one policy that you would make? I want to make one policy where there's equal opportunity to everybody of equal quality. Just because I have more money, I cannot, I'll become, today, unfortunately, at one point of time, Saraswati and Lakshmi both never used to go together. But if you have today Lakshmi, you can buy Saraswati. That's a different scenario today. I think that has to be changed. That has to be changed. That is the reason China, till 12, practically 100% free for everybody in China till 12. Universal access. Still in India, the till 12th access is around 70, 75 kind of percentage. Now, he talked about reservations. I come from such a section too. But we have to understand. We have to understand the fact. majority of the people coming from Dalits, SC, or tribals, or OBCs, for years after years, they have been suppressed of their right of education. Just because I have money, just because I have access to resources, just because I am in the upper strata of the society, if I have the access and others don't have the access, what kind of a democracy are we talking about? What kind of a humanity are we talking about? So reservations are not political tools, but reservations are nation empowerment program. For example, women. Women never had voter right. Ambedkar fought for it, and then later, a lot of innovation has happened. Social innovation happened. 50% of the women don't get right opportunities even today. Now, if I don't give reservation to women, am I doing injustice to the nation or not? The same logic is applicable to the vulnerable sections of the society.
True.
Same logic is applicable. If a woman, just because she is a woman, does not get the opportunity and then made her to confine herself in a kitchen or to mundane kind of jobs, sundry jobs, today look at the kind of two women who led the war communication. Just imagine if they were not given that opportunity in the armed forces. It was also given. At one point of time, there were no women in the armed forces. So therefore, my appeal is reservations are for the national empowerment. Majority section, if they are deprived of their opportunity, how would you expect a nation to grow with a minority?
Absolutely.
If you want to have an integrated, a holistic development of the nation, everybody should have an equal opportunity. Thank you.
There are two sides to a coin. And reservations, definitely, like you just mentioned, they are needed somewhere or the other. But I think finding a balance in the system is also needed, like he quoted.
I want to tell you, people talk about reservations. You go to IITs, you go to IIMs, you go to any central universities. Data. 50% of the faculty positions that are allocated to, let's say, OBCs, SCs, or STs are not filled today after 77 years. And then what reservations are we talking about? They're kept vacant. They're not filled. So therefore, there's a lot more to be done in this country. Social transformation, technological transformation. I think a mindset has to be changed. If you leave somebody behind, you're leaving your country behind.
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thought-provoking conversation. Thank you so much, sir. We'll take one more question if there's any, and we'll wrap up the conversation. Anybody else who'd like to raise any questions here? All right, okay. With that, thank you so much. A loud round of applause for sir once again, sir. This conversation was absolutely thought-provoking and inspiring.
It's actually a refreshing for me because every day you keep talking politics, criticizing, aggressively countering somebody, but coming and talking about academics, I really thank ABP Desam and thank you all. So humbly thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you for joining us.
Really
Thank you for
learning from it.
gracing us here with your presence. Thank you so much. Over to Akanksha.
Thank you, sir. I think the energy in the room is definitely gone across. There's a lot of smiling faces, a lot of energy in the room, so thank you for that. With this, may I invite on stage Mr. Sunil Goswami, Editor, Digital Videos, ABP Network, to kindly felicitate sir, thanking him for his time, presence, and all the thought-provoking messages that we just heard. We definitely need such leaders to shape young minds, to shape our thoughts, and eventually shape our futures. so much, sir. Thank you.